I think we have audio.
Oh my god.
We're just gonna turn it down just a bit.
Oh my god. He on.
Yep, cool. We're chilling now. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to our first Blue Team workshop of I think ever. I don't think I've done this one before. Yeah, so this became an idea a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of it's here to teach you guys how to Blue Team. I know when I came in as a freshman, like I knew nothing. Like Linux, what was Linux? It's kind of scary. Terminal, what was a terminal? Like I don't know anything. And then I went to a competition and I like jumped into the deep end, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to, and like it was just like not. It was a rather like overwhelming experience, and so the goal of these workshops is to teach you guys some basic intro skills to get you guys at least so you like wade in before you jump into the deep end a little bit, and not just like a full like 10-meter diving board into the deep end like I did. So hopefully this goes well, and we'll see how we can make it better going forward. So yes, welcome all to Blue Team Workshops. Next slide. Yeah. So we do have a little sign link for you guys. It's not like a tracking sign in that we're gonna do like for club meetings, but it's more of a like I want to know how many people come and do it, because that is just a cool number that I want to see. We'll probably do this every week, and then we'll have some nice stats up on the board at the end of the competition. And there's also some stuff about like what's your background knowledge, what stuff you guys want to learn about, just so like we can make sure that we're helping you guys the best. So please hit that link. We'll also drop in announcements, and yeah, that'll also happen. Cool. Everybody get the link, or can you drop it in announcements? Cool. Thank you. Next slide. So the general format of these meetings is going to be very similar to how we do education for the club, where we have like a presentation followed by some demo time. So what we're going to do is we're going to have like a 30-minute presentation. This week's topic is going to be like intro to competitions by the one and only DaBaby. And we're going to do, after that, we'll have some demo time where we'll all walk around, answer questions, help you guys write out 5-minute plans, and get you guys some hands-on experience that you guys can then turn into stuff for the competition. So that is the format of the meeting. Next slide. And yes, if you guys have not yet signed up for IRSEC, do it right now, because a lot of people have signed up and there's not a lot of space left. So signups are go to irsec.club and go over to the register link. Signups are $10 a person in cash at the door for t-shirts and food. So go there and do that, and do it now, because you don't want to miss out and not be able to compete because signups got full before you signed up. And 5-person teams. I forgot the word teams when I was making this deck. So, but yes, 5 people per team. If you don't have a team, don't worry, just sign up anyways, and we'll put you guys together with people, and it'll be fantastic. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of an introduction for you guys, just so you know that the people up here teaching you aren't totally full of crap. So my name is Jason. Hopefully you guys know that by now. If you don't, well, now you do. And I will try to learn all of your names as we go. I am the IRSEC competition architect. This is my 3rd year at RIT, so my freshman year I did a lot of blue teaming. I went to UB Lockdown in the fall, then I did ISTS and IRSEC in the spring, and I went to lots of CCDC practices to get like a basic understanding of how to do like network defense. My background is primarily in networking for like defensive competitions. Then last year I joined the RIT Sec Red team and started to do some offensive security stuff during competitions. And then I was a member of the CCDC team last year and did networking stuff for them. And then, well, what was left of networking stuff? I kind of just like didn't put a router in like 2 of the competitions out of the 3 that we had. So I was just kind of just like on the side, just chilling the entire time. Totally was not butthurt over that one. And this year, I'm the competition architect and lead member of the black team. So that is my experience with blue teaming. So now you know that I'm not totally talking out of my ass. Give it to Philip to introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Philip Abbey. I'm a fourth-year senior here. I've done quite a few blue team competitions. It's probably my favorite thing to do, really, here at RIT. Like it's my favorite aspect, I guess. I've done 1 UB lockdown, IRSEC, multiple ISTSs, CCDC for 3 years. I was captain last year. I don't know. I a lot of blue team. Do Windows, blue team, Linux, red team. Yeah, Windows and Linux are mostly specialty.
What's up, guys? I'm Enzo. I hope you know that. I've done a bunch of blue teaming and red teaming. I was in IRSEC 2 years back. I blue teamed that. I was on CCDC. I did a bunch of Windows stuff. And I'm also on the red team now, so watch out.
Hello, I'm Emmanuel, and I'm also a fourth year. For my presentation yesterday, I did a lot of blue teaming, but now I'm in charge of the red team. So, yeah, that's what I got.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Tenchi. I'm the head of research. I've won ISTS twice, IRSEC second place. So I'm very experienced in blue teaming. So if you have any questions, ask me.
Casually flexes winning ISTS. Again, is there anybody else out there who wants to introduce themselves? Part of like gonna be up here doing stuff. All right, I think that's it. Cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna get up to Philip for our slides, and then after that, we're gonna do some demo stuff. And yeah.
Okay. Time for the exciting slides. Let's go. Okay. So, who am I? I just introduced myself, but here's a bit more in depth. So, I'm Philip Abbey. As I said before, I was a former head of education for RITSEC. Fourth year, I've done CCDC, red team. I work for MITRE. I love everything red blue. Egg team as well. And I'm a connoisseur of paint backgrounds. Talk to me later if you want to know what that might mean. So what is a blue team competition? So a blue team competition is where multiple different blue teams compete to against each other to keep services up, do injects, and do a lot of other stuff. Well, like a kind of a neutral red team. I say neutral, they're attacking you still, but like, they try to attack evenly. They're trying to make it still a competition. They're not competing at all. They attack a blue team. They take down your services. They wreak havoc. Examples of these competitions: IRSEC, ISTS, CCDC, UB lockdown. Colors. So you'll hear a lot of blue team, red team, black team, white team. What does this mean? So blue team, as explained, you're the ones defending, you're the ones competing. This is kind of your competition. You fix the broken services and get pwned. Red team, they do the pwning. They attack you, they break in, destroy services, they play Taylor Swift songs through your terminal. Overall, they're there to help you learn. They're not competing, obviously. They don't have any goal or prize. They're here to help blue teams learn and become experienced from defending against attacks. Kind of teach you cool new stuff. Black team, these are your competition organizers and builders. During competition, their words pretty much law. They pretty much build the competition from the ground up, make the images, make the VMs for you to work on. Overall, it's all volunteer work, and it's a really good experience for them, but also just very good volunteer, and we're glad they do it. There's white team. They help run competition. They're kind of like volunteers at like event. They kind of go intermediately between the black team and blue teams. Answer questions. They kind of do the grunt work. And there's purple team. You won't get this for a while. This ISTS is an example of this. So it's where like some competitions, they'll allow blue teams to attack each other. They'll be on like they'll have connected networks. And IRSEC, this isn't the case, but ISTS, blue teams can go at each other as well as red team attacking. So services. This is one of the key aspects of the competition, is keeping your services up. You're given a topology of machines. It can be from 2 to 3, 4 machines per person. And each machine usually has 1 or 2 or more services that are scored. This could be a web server, a mail server, ping, my favorite service, of course, and Active Directory. There's a scoring engine that will occasionally check the service. That means making a web request to your service, pinging a box, making a DNS query. All good stuff. It checks it. If it does the expected behavior, good, you get points. If it doesn't get the expected behavior, it's like, oh, it's down, service bad, go fix it. It'll give you some nice logs sometimes, depends on how nice the scoring engine is. That's about all. Next slide. Injects. So injects are about half of scoring. I think IRSec they're a third because the IR report's also in there. But for most competitions, services are half the scoring, and they're kind of in your face because you have the scoring engine. You want to get your services up. But injects are also just as much as services, and they're pretty important, so make sure you do them. What injects are is they're like business tasks that are just like, hey, it can range from, hey, go set this, change this password here, or make this account, to, okay, do OS Zap to scan your web server and give us a report on like the top 3 vulnerabilities on your web server or whatever. You got to make sure it's professional. It's kind of in theme with the competition. So you got to kind of play along in that role playing, kind of in theme. So it's your boss giving you these tasks, and you can't be like, oh, I'm not going to do that. You got to be professional. You're like, oh, sorry, I can't do this, or we were able to do this. Here's proof, blah blah blah. It's usually you want to be somewhat professional. There's a grade about that. It's graded also on that, and you gotta also show proof. So most index grades you want to show actual proof, either, oh, this is me running the command to change the password, or here's the example of the web vulns or something. Screenshots are really, really good. Yeah, pretty much that. Next slide. IR. So IRSec, if you're doing that, this is going to be the third aspect of scoring. If you IR just stands for incident response. What that means is you got to find evidence of like red team attacking on your box, whether that's just red team dropping a file, a binary, or just red team logging in. It can be as simple as that. And you got to do either remediate that, oh, red team dropped this binary and they broke this service, so I'm going to fix what they broke and then stop them from dropping that binary again. It's graded based kind of like how, one, it's also somewhat professional, and also just based on your findings. You list a whole report at the end of the competition. I think your IRSec is the time put out just for that. So during the competition, you want to like gather evidence and screenshots, and at the end, you put a report of like, here's what the red team did. This is how we fixed it, and you do that for like each thing you find. And what is a blue team? So blue teaming, I explained like how you blue team, but how do you actually be a team? And so, you might be put into, if you don't sign up with a group, might be put in a group of a bunch of random people in some Discord channel, and you don't know who they are. You know what they know, and so this is a good way to start. So you want to introduce yourself, obviously. You want to get a gauge of skill levels and interests. You want to be like, okay, I've never touched a Linux machine before, or I'm a 4-year expert in Windows. I write rootkits for a hobby and stuff like that. Organize the time to meet. You're going to want to practice, or at least meet, get kind of organized. You're not going to just, oh, I sign up and then I'm going to come to the competition and compete. You want to actually practice a bit beforehand, get knowing your kind of skills, work as a team together a bit, set up some stuff. Practice is always good. I recommend When to Meet, and you see in the bottom side. It's a really nice tool for organizing schedules. Pretty much you just go to the website, put to the link, just write your name in and say, okay, these are the days I'm free. And then your team can just oh, everyone's free here. Well, it's not really necessary. You might want a leader or captain. Sometimes decisions just need to be made. And so having someone who's just in a leadership role can help those be made quicker and more necessary. That's about all. Next slide. Competition prep. So you kind of want to split into roles, goals. You can't just have everyone kind of, okay, we're just going to do it. And then during the competition kind of hack it around like, oh, that's down, you go do it or something. Really, it's you want to have a bunch of different roles kind of like to suit your focuses or what you want to do during the competition. So I'll go first with Linux, Windows, and networking. If you're a Linux person, you want to do Linux, maybe you want to learn Linux. You want to say that to your group, and hopefully you kind of want a good even split of Linux and Windows. Networking as well. Networking's like for routers and stuff like that if you don't know. And so you kind of want to get an even split. And try if you feel like your Linux like amazing at Linux, maybe you want to try Windows as competition, especially since IRSec is an intro comp or intro-ish. So don't be afraid to try something new, and just work with your team. Split up. Who's going to do the Linux boxes? Who's going to do the Windows boxes? You'll have 5 people, so a good split would probably be like 2 Linux, 2 Windows networking. There's also an inject captain. What that is because injects are 50% of your points. It's probably a good idea to have someone who's focused on making sure those injects actually get in. That doesn't mean they do every single inject personally, but That means they kind of organize when injects have a due date, what time they need to get in by, organizing who's going to do what inject, writing up the reports, stuff like that. The idea to have someone who's focusing on that so that you get that 50% of the points. That's perfect. Okay. There's also
Someone turn on the lights.
yeah, they're right over there.
Someone turn it off.
At other competitions, IRSEC won't have this, but ISTS, for example, this King of the Hill, the CTF, maybe you want to assign people to those roles so that during competition, you know who's doing those. You want to assign machines. So eventually you will get a topology. That will be like week 4 of the workshop. It'll be a big packet. You'll get to see what machines are in the topology. You want to divvy those out. So you're in the competition, you don't just freak me like, okay, who's doing what? Even if you know your roles, there might be multiple Linux, multiple Windows. You say, okay, we have 4 on Windows side. We have 2 web servers, an Active Directory, a DNS, certificate authority. Okay, me and you are Windows. I'm going to do these 3 boxes. You do these 2 boxes. It's probably kind of an even workload, stuff like that. So that when you get in the competition, you know exactly what box you're going to go on and know exactly what you're going to start. Password sheet. So I learned this like my freshman year after my first competition. It's kind of a good feature, I guess, where like eventually you're gonna have to log into other teams' boxes, or your other teammates' boxes eventually, and so you want kind of secure passwords. But shouting across the room, maybe even if a red team is in there, the league OPSEC, shouting across it's gonna be kind of difficult, especially if you have special characters. So what we like to do is we have a password sheet of like 80 passwords. You divvy up, so 80 divided by 5. Each person gets like 9. I can't do quick math. I'm sorry, but they get the amount of passwords, and so then if you're going to make a password, you just have like your whatever passwords, and it's 16. You have your 16 passwords. Choose the first one, write it down, and someone asks, "Oh, what's the password to the admin on the Windows on your Active Directory box?" You say, "Oh, it's number 1," and so only you have access to that password sheet. It's right next to you. Make sure any red teamers walk around don't see it. And so then you can just quickly, your teammate can just look at number 1, that's your password, type it in. You have to shout special characters across the room, all that stuff. Inventory sheet as well. So a very common inject, and even if it's not inject, it's very important, is having an inventory of what's on your topology. You have the packet, but even just writing down like what services or what ports are needed, especially helpful for the router person who needs to, let traffic out of your network. So being able to know what ports are needed is really important. So what we like to do sometimes, especially on CCDC, we have just these inventory sheets, which is like just a sheet of paper that we write down all the information on a machine. We do have one for each machine. And so then when we have an inventory inject, which is usually inject like, oh, hey, list out your topology. We want these details. You can use that for that inject. Your inject cap can be like that. And you can also give it to your networking person so that they can see, okay, this IP needs these ports, and then makes their firewalls super, super easy. And make sure everyone has what they need. Does the Linux person have a list of their 5-minute plans? Do they have their GitHub repos they maybe want to download that have nice tooling, stuff like that? Yep. 5-minute plan. So I think we're gonna go after this presentation. We're gonna go working into making these. These are very, very nice and important. They're like quick actions that you do at the very beginning of the competition. It could take 5 minutes at most. It'll probably take 15 because competitions are slow sometimes. So this is just changing default passwords, firewalls, stuff that are quick, easy. They take a low amount of effort, but they have a lot of impact. So you're not like removing a rootkit in your 5-minute plan or installing a new server or changing a whole config file, and this is a really small change. You're doing really quick stuff that has a lot of stuff. This is changing passwords. This is setting up a firewall or turning it on really quick. This is, typing in that one registry key that disables Eternal Blue, something like that. Yeah, pretty much. Very, very quick stuff that can really help during competition and make red team kind of sad when they, oh, I'm just going to run this exploit. Oh, wait, they already stopped it, even though it's in the first like 10 minutes. All right, next slide. An example of a 5-minute plan would be something like this. You log in, you change the root passwords, you disable accounts that you don't need. This would be, you have like your user account, you have the root account, and all these other accounts that maybe might be vulnerable, a guest account, stuff like that. You won't need that during competition. Make sure, though, don't disable scoring accounts. So if it's an SSH server that's scoring and they log in with X account, don't disable X account or your service will break. So disable all unnecessary accounts. You want to limit sudo. That sudo is size to who needs it. aka you, not the red team, probably not the scoring. Limit who can SSH. That's also a good thing. You don't want random users being able to SSH because that's how red team gets access. So you want only maybe you or no one to SSH. You don't want root to SSH as well. Red team logging as root through SSH, not really nice, especially because that gets in everything. You want to set up firewall rules maybe. Quick IP tables, allow 22, allow ping, so on. And you want to reinstall maybe those critical binaries. Maybe red team, a lot of time during competitions, red team gets the pre-bake. What that means is before competition, they get access to implant malware on your machines. So that when you come onto the competition, as soon as you start, red team already has access. So you might want to reinstall binaries that red team maybe shimmed or injected into, like SSH. Maybe they have some SSH backdoor that they install, or maybe Nginx, they put some module in there that gives them root access and everything to the box. So maybe you want to reinstall that really quick, so that those become fresh, new. Those are safe because they're from they're reinstalled, such as that. But yeah, that's a quick example. We'll go probably more in depth in the demo. Yeah, high impact, low effort, not doing those stuff. So common issues you might run into that you don't really want to panic. So MIA teammates. Sometimes you get put on a team, again, those random people, and someone does not respond. You email them, you Discord them, try and find, you stalk them during real life, don't do that. But they just don't respond, they're missing. You don't want to compete down a teammate. So IRSec, it seems, is going to have a lot of people signing up. So if that happens, just message one of the e-board. They'll sort out your case simply. Don't worry too much about it. You also have issues where every single person is a Linux person on your team. Everyone wants to do Linux, everyone hates Windows. Don't put me on a Windows box. Yeah, that's not going to work. You can't, there's a mix of everything. You can't have everyone all on one OS, obviously. So someone either has to suck it up, someone will try something new. You probably want to get like a depth or a broad ability of skills. So if you really, really like Linux, but everyone else wants to do Linux, you've never done Windows on blue teaming, try and learn it. It'll be fun. Going outside your comfort zone is good. Maybe we get BSC, hopefully not. But you also have arguments and disagreements. And this is generally like a life skill. You're going to have teams, projects you're going to work on in college. You have disagreements. Oh, you should do it this way. Oh, you're not doing your work. Oh, you're slacking. It's just a life skill you're going to learn. End of the day, it's just a blue team competition. Where this isn't like, this won't decide your career. Like getting first place in this competition isn't going to get you that $200,000 salary at Microsoft. It's just for fun. This competition is a fun time to learn something. So you just got to make the most out of the competition. If you have maybe a crappy teammate that's arguing, having a bad mouth, just kind of bear through it, get the best you can out of the competition, and this is kind of just life thing. Just got to get work with bad people. Yeah, all right. Have fun. This is it says competition. It's like just like a soccer game or just some fun sport, fun competition that's like not too serious. This is just run within RIT, for example, IRSec. This is just RIT people. Sure, there's like prizes, but they're not like insane. They're not like $20,000 prize. It's like $200 at most. Just try and have fun with your teammates. If you lose, don't worry, you're all burning together, and when you're all burning down, and when your infrastructure is all burning, your service is all down, you kind of bond on that. Just have fun. Treat your teammates like if you get a good team, all kind of go together. If you gel well, you can sign up for other competitions. That's what I did. Freshman year, signed up for UB Lockdown. Team was really nice, really good. We won RGB eggs for a competition, and that was the birth of Egg Team. So for the rest of my blue team for IOSEC, blue team to ISTS, we were Egg Team, and that was the same team that competed. We lost and gained members, but it was a really fun time. Good teammates. You really have a lot of fun. Yeah, competitions, I enjoy them. They're really fun. And now I get the plug. CCDC. So CCDC, I think, is a great experience. It's a collegiate cyber defense competition. So that means that you represent the school in a red team, blue team competition. Usually we go to regionals where we compete against the Northeast region, and usually we win that and go to nationals where we compete against the rest of the country. We've probably gone to nationals the last 3 or 4 years. It's a really fun experience. Red team breaks a lot of stuff. But I learned a ton. I think a good 70% of my learning here at RIT is in CCDC, I'd say. So yeah, I think I have more. So why should you carry on CCDC? Yeah, once again, It's really, really good learning. I think even if you just go to even if you don't get on the team, we have practices this fall that like open practices, that's like almost like a tryout kind of thing, where you get to learn so much either about Windows, Linux, networking, all different stuff. It's really fun. Companies love it. They really recognize it. Big sponsors like Raytheon and stuff sponsor CCDC, and companies kind of, if the company's in the know, they know what CCDC is. It's a really nice thing to have on your resume if you have CCDC. Obviously, don't do it just for that. But again, it got me my first internship at CCDC. Like, oh, they saw freshman CCDC. Like, oh, we can get you an interview real quick, and that got me working at MITRE. Even if you don't want to be on a team, if you can't do the time commitment, practices are still open. I think an email went out to the CSUX department about CCDC. They should start next Friday. I really recommend coming. Again, if you're a freshman, maybe don't have the time commitment, scared to be on the team or something, don't worry, you can still come, you can still learn. Practices are still open, and they're a good experience. You being IRSEC are also good practice for the good practice for you being IRSEC. So CCDC is also it's like an extra blue team workshop. You learn more about services and everything. So doing those would be good practice for IRSEC as well. And I think that's it. Questions? I know I blitzed you like so much, so please ask questions if you need.
How long are usually the competitions for IRSEC?
So competitions, it varies. IRSEC is 1 day, and it's like 6 hours with like a break in the middle. ISTS is 2 days. That's also like 8 hours. CCDC was 2 days. That was like 10, 12 hours total. It's various competition, but they're usually quite long. So it is like a marathon almost. You have to work for a good amount of time, but they're fun still, and the time does fly by. Especially when you do an index. Oh, it's due by 1 p.m. Oh, we can wait. We got an hour and a half. Oh wait, it's 12:45 already, and we haven't even started. Like stuff like that. Yeah.
How soon ahead of time do blue teams know either their topology or the operating system work?
So it depends on the competition. IRSEC, I think they're starting the week 2 weeks before with the topology and packet, like the whole thing's getting released. CCDC, literally the day before. So depends, but it's usually a good idea to check those out, before the competition. You want to know what you're working on. That's usually when you divvy up who has what boxes. Any other questions? I'll make sure to post these slides as well, by the way. This is all recorded as well, so I'll hand it off to Jason.
Thank you very much, Philip. All right, so we're now going to move into demo time. Today's demo is going to be taking like this information and then specifically working on a 5-minute plan. So as Philip talked about, it's the 5-minute plan is like the things you want to do in the first 5 minutes of the competition. So we're going to walk around, help you guys write those out. I do think it might be better. We have both labs reserved, so if everybody who's chilling in the back without a desk wants to get up and move over there, that would be pretty cool, just so you guys don't have to like type on your lap. I know like it's really annoying really quickly. So we can do that. We'll get some music going. We'll start walking around. Figure out if you want to write a 5-minute plan for Linux or Windows, and then pull up PowerShell or Bash. Either one works. So yeah, let's get after it.
Yo, real quick about 5-minute plans. They're both shorthand and longhand. So like if you want to write out actual commands, you can. But also changing passwords. If you know how to change passwords in like Linux, you can just write change password. You don't have to write password, blah blah blah.